Ben Brochu here with Hinterland Outdoors. I've been asked to help someone out with some squirrels. I thought you might want to tag along, learn how to set snares for squirrels. I took a quick look on YouTube, and man, most of what's on there is garbage. So here, hopefully this will help you out. First thing you want to do is be somewhere where there is squirrels. That's what you call a squirrel midden, spots where it's coming out of the snow, holes under the base of the trees, all their shellings from where they've been eating. I think I just heard a squirrel chatter, so that's always a good sign as well. You want to be on location, and you find yourself a good dry pole, preferably one that's kicking around from that area. Perfect diameter is a couple fingers, maximum like 3. You don't want the squirrel to be able to walk around your snare. I've seen a lot of guys making poles that are too steep. If your pole is too steep, the squirrel will get caught and he'll be able to grab back onto the pole. So that's going to defeat the purpose of what you're trying to do. So this is a good length. You can go longer than this. Basically, squirrels always like to take shortcuts. So instead of going, straight up the tree from the bottom, if I put my end of my pole in an area where the squirrels are already going to be, such as right here, they're going to go up the pole just because they can. So if you're going really hardcore, you can set up your poles a week or 2 or even longer ahead of time. Get the squirrels running them ahead of time before you get put on your snares, but it's not absolutely necessary. You'll notice no tools are required. I'm just putting it in a branch. A few different ways you can tie your loop in. I like to do a double, which makes a bit of a better lock. See a lot of guys out there snaring squirrels, or attempting to. You notice on all these instructional videos, they don't actually have any squirrels caught because they're often using 22 gauge rabbit snare wire. You don't want that. You want 25 or 26 gauge thin wire. You can use copper, stainless steel, brass will work fine as well. Sorry to get that to focus, but I'll show you what the loop's gonna look like. Looking up the pole, that snare's got to be straight in line. Okay, up off about 2 fingers, and you want to make it so you're kind of fencing them in. You're gonna put multiple ones. Snare's gonna be long enough that when they fall off, catches by the head, they can't reach back up to the pole. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm gonna put about 3 on here, then I'll make another pole. I did something a little different. I did a single overhand knot. There you go. Just to show you another way to do it. Had a little bit too long of a wire at first, so I wrapped it around. The main thing is it just got to be stable. So if you miss one on the way by, it'll just bounce back and you'll catch them on the way down. You want to catch them by the head, and then it's the weight of the squirrel that's going to do the work, okay? Don't want your loop too big. You don't want to be able to get those front paws through it. So this is a fairly big one. Here you can see almost 3 fingers for me. It's a little bit wider just because of the way the pole is, but then I put a little bit higher to make up for it being bigger. That way I only catch them by the head. And another one here. Same concept. I put a little bit higher. If you're going to do 3 in a row, it's nice to vary the height depending on your size of your squirrels and just what kind of part of the stride you're catching them in. So as you can see, they're not that easy to see, especially depending on the lighting. I'm attaching them specifically where there's these little pieces of the branches, just so then in case it's not overly tight right there, they can't slide down. It's a quick review. You make your overhead loop, single or double, or your overhand knot. Focus is brutal. And then, sorry, I really need a tripod here. Then put your end, so you can see that, through here and through the loop. Then tie it on somewhere where it's not going to fall off. And then end up with your finished loop. 1.5 inches off the pole. This one is a slightly off center just because of where that stick is. and then put them in series, making sure that they can't reach each other. Once they're caught, they can't reach the pole and they can't reach the ground. And obviously the best poles to use are ones that are already there, but just resist the temptation to using one that is too steep or too wide. This one I just picked up off the ground, stuck it in between these two trees. It doesn't have to go to the ground. These work well also, and it's about the right size. And there's squirrel sign in both of these trees. I can hear one. If you're trying to figure out where the squirrels are and you see the sign, not sure if it's fresh, just sit still, especially on a sunny day, for 5-10 minutes, and you should hear them chirping. One of the advantages of a horizontal pole is because the squirrels hold their heads at different heights, going up and down, then you don't have to vary the height as much. Yeah, so this is the overhead knot style. You're going to leave a little tail on that. You can actually use that. You can leave a longer one and use it to guide the squirrel's head down a little bit. But basically you want to make sure you're far enough from anything you can grab on the tree where your first one is. Yeah, there's a squirrel over there somewhere, so it's definitely at least one. But you could put one every 12 inches. Or it's about 16 inches you go across. So it's a couple days later, and going to check out the snares. Picked up a squirrel on the way in, shot this one, about 22 just in case. So checking out our first pole, and boom, that's exactly how it's supposed to work. Right around the neck. There you go. So this has been coming from this side here. Got caught in this one. It's hanging there. Perfect. Exactly how it's supposed to work. Caught by the neck. Nice and humane. Beautiful.